Today I'm going to attempt to machine titanium on a wood lathe. I'm going to machine the button and I'm going to machine the tip of my mechanical eraser.
Okay, I just got some titanium. I'm going to try to make these parts. This one's going to be the hardest because of this deep hole.
I'm going to start off by making the button. First I use a Sharpie and then I scribe a line. I carve up until that line but use calipers to make sure that I've hit the exact dimension. The back of a carbide drill bit helps me carve away quickly, while a file helps me give the finishing touches. I'm using a center drill to drill the hole first. This helps it so the drill bit doesn't wander when I go to drill to the final dimension. After drilling, I use a reamer. This reamer is a little bit dull, and you see the lathe is spinning too fast, so it doesn't look like it's going to work, but it actually ended up working okay. Then I cut it off with a hacksaw. That's much faster than trying to carve a groove until it falls off. The hacksaw leaves a rough edge, so I clean it up with a file and with that carbide drill bit. The next part to make is the tip. The outer dimension of the tip doesn't need to be worked on since it's already starting at 9mm. I just need to do a little bit of shaping, but mainly drilling to 4 accurate depths. I do this by drilling a little bit and then measuring with calipers. So I drill a little bit, measure, and drill a little bit, measure a little bit more. I flip it around and use a reamer, and that reamer is a tapered reamer. I get it to the perfect size by measuring with gauge pins. This is a set of gauge pins that I got, and I would just ream it with that tapered reamer, see where I was at, and then just go a little bit further until I was at the right spot. That tip is a very critical dimension because it needs to hold the eraser just right.
This is a piece of titanium that I was drilling, and my drill bit got dull, got too hot. It got dull probably because it got too hot, and you can see the discoloration here. I can no longer drill this titanium because it is work hardened, so keeping things cool is the hardest part. This wood lathe runs at about 700 RPM. That's too fast for drilling without coolant. I got this fancy drill bit. It's PIALN coated high-speed steel. I thought this would solve my issue, that along with this tap magic, but it didn't. Things still get too hot. Overall, when I'm making parts on the wood lathe, I expected them to be way less accurate. It turns out that even though that there's a lot of play here, and this part bends quite a bit, because this part's spinning and this part's drilling, I'm able to drill a hole that's pretty much down the center of my part. Now, I was surprised that you can machine metal on a wood lathe, but it makes sense because a lot of people will knock off corners with a file on a metal lathe. Using a file on the outside, using a drill on the inside, you can make quite a few parts, as long as they're small. I have to use small pieces of titanium. They can't go back much further than this. And it's nice on a metal lathe, you can have it go very far back. I think one thing that helped me in my success was having a nice Enco chuck on this end and Jacob's chuck on this end. I was quite surprised that I was able to make this on the wood lathe. It functions pretty well. If you take a look, the hole looks pretty centered to me. This piece took me about 9 hours to make. I had to wait for the drill bit to cool down and for the metal to cool down. I tried using water, and I'm not really sure if water was helping me.
Drilling the holes accurately took forever. It was hard because I had no reliable way to measure my distance that I had drilled. I would have to drill a little bit, trying not to go too far because if I did, the part would be ruined. And then I'd measure with my calipers to see where I was at. So I'd drill a little bit, measure, and drill a little bit more. This involved measuring around 10 to 15 times before I was at the right distance.
I got this neat pattern on the button. That happened when I was carving away with that carbide bit. I kinda like it. Anyways, thanks for watching.